Hey guys, I'm Katie or Kbdoesart, and today we are going to be making a Nintendo Switch. So I would definitely recommend having some sort of reference. I've got mine in front of me, so I would just try and kind of use a reference because it's a complicated object. So go ahead and make a sphere first, and I'm gonna go ahead and make my height probably like 3. Let's do my depth maybe like 0.5, and my width can be like maybe 5 or 6. I might actually like cut my height down, and then let's make our width only 4. I'm basically just making the screen right now, so let's see, that can be my screen, and then we're gonna make the handles on the side. So first thing we need to do is add some divisions. Just do double, whatever you have there. That should work. And then go ahead and make another cube. Let's see, so it looks like this one's 4 by 2. So you can go ahead and make that guy like 1 by 2, maybe? We might make it a little bit smaller. You can go ahead and push it to the side. Yeah, we need to make them smaller for sure. Actually, it might be okay when we bevel that edge. I'm gonna test it out first and then I'll let you know. Okay, so do 2 by 4, then you can select that top edge, and then you can bevel it, Control B. Okay. So I'm going to select this edge as well and bevel that. But I want to get that one to have a really small fraction. Yeah, like 0.01, super small. That way, when you press 3, they turn out to be little handles. Okay, so you can go ahead and select these edges as well and bevel all of those guys. I usually don't do this first, but I want to make sure that I get like the key components down. You can make this fraction really small too. I'm going to give it 2 segments this time. Just because I want to make sure that I get, those objects correct. So maybe make it like 0.35. Or maybe even smaller. I'm trying to get it to match up with this guy as much as I can. I think that looks good. And then you can just go ahead and, I think I'm first gonna make like the buttons on the back, and then we'll go ahead and, duplicate it and move it to the other side. Yeah. Actually, they're so different. Okay, go ahead and duplicate this guy, and then move it on over here. And then you want to be able to flip it 180 degrees on that y-axis. And then just try and like eyeball it to the best of your ability to get them, as close together as possible. Alright, that looks pretty good. Why don't we go ahead and deal with this guy first? So let's go ahead and select, let's see, select these faces on the inside. Go ahead and extrude and offset them in 0.03. Then extrude and press that thickness down 0.03, so not a whole lot. And then you can go ahead and select these guys again. And then I think I'm going to, yeah, let's extrude, offset them in like 0.15 probably, and then you can like scale it up a little bit. There we go. That way we've got like a little screen. And then next thing I want to do is go ahead and make some of these buttons on the bottom. You can go ahead and select these 4 faces, extrude, and offset them in. Probably like, oh, it doesn't go in a ton without, okay, we'll do that later. So I think we can go ahead and tackle this guy. Let's go ahead and just make the buttons first. I'm actually going to be making everything externally and then just attaching it to it. So let's first just start with the little plus sign. So you can grab this guy, then you can scale him down, you know, to the best of your ability. He's going to go probably about right here in the mesh. So go ahead and scale him down. Let's see if that's a good size. I might also, I think I'm gonna make it a little bigger. Maybe like that. All right, and then it should be like about here on the mesh, maybe? And then it gets pretty far in. So I'm gonna go like probably about there. Yeah, and then duplicate that guy and rotate him 90 degrees on maybe the z-axis? Yeah, the z-axis, so you get a little cross. And then you can take that long one, duplicate it, and then push it all the way over here for the minus sign on this side. All right, so now we've got our cross and minuses. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead, I feel like you guys can't see my screen very well. I'm gonna add in a light for you guys. That's like really not any better. Hold on. All right, there we go. So we've got, you know, one side with a minus and one side with a plus. Let's go ahead and make those 4 buttons now. So that's just going to be probably a cylinder. So go ahead and grab a cylinder, rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis so that its top is facing us. And then let's push him over here. Bring him on out. And then he should be about the size, a little bit bigger than that X up there. And then just position him. Yeah, that's good. And then you can duplicate that guy, push one of them down. Duplicate it again. One of them goes over. Trying to get it like as even as possible. It looks pretty good. And then they look a little bit too far out, so I'm just gonna go ahead and select those guys and push them into the mesh a little bit. That's a bit better. And then you can actually just select those guys, and then you can duplicate them, and you can bring them on over here. These guys are actually a bit further down on their mesh. They're about like probably there. So yeah. And then this guy's got like a cube that is right here. So go ahead and grab a cube, move it on over here. You can make it about the size of those cylinders, those buttons right there. So maybe like about there. And then I'm going to scale it down just a smidge more. Alright, and then buttons about right there. And then go ahead and grab a sphere and scale that guy down. Actually no. Go ahead and grab one of these guys, duplicate it, and move it on down here. It should match up with that cube on the other side. Go ahead and select these faces, offset it in by like 0.01, and then I'm gonna just press my thickness down like 0.01, very small. And then there is actually like a cute little house in it. I could technically model that using a cylinder if we rotate that 90 degrees. And then you can make your axes to 3. And then let's see, if we move over here, scale it on down, move it this way. The house is literally just like a triangle and a cube. So we can position it to be inside that guy. It's actually also like a bit longer, maybe like that. Okay, I'm gonna rotate it just a little bit. Right, we can go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. And then we'll probably end up like pushing it into the mesh a little bit so it peeks out just a smidge. But then really it just connects to a sphere. So you can take this sphere and duplicate it and then move it on over here, and then scale it as needed. Probably scale it down. And then you can push it into the mesh so that it is peeking out with this little house. Just trying to get it even. Cool. Alright, so now we've got a little house over there. Technically also on this button over here, it's got like a little like cylinder kind of like cut out from it. So if you wanted to, you can take a sphere, scale it down, move it on over here to this cube, scale it to whatever size you want. It's pretty small, so I'm going to scale mine down a bit more. Oh, I scaled it down on the wrong axis. And then just whatever shape you want it to kind of make out of it, kind of like position it. Then you can push it into that mesh. And then you can select that guy, select the object you want it to cut out, and do mesh booleans difference, and it should give you like a little sphere cutout. Alright, so that's one thing. The next thing we need to make is the joysticks. So the joysticks are made basically just from like squashed spheres and cylinders basically. So The first thing I would probably want to do is we want to cut out part of the mesh using a sphere, using a cylinder. So first just duplicate a cylinder, move it up, scale it up to the size that the joystick button is, so probably about there, and then move it wherever you want it to be. And then you want to just push it into the mesh a little bit. If you go into wireframe mode, you can see how far it's going to go in. Not that much, probably like about there. And then let's go ahead and you want to select this guy, select the cylinder, and do mesh booleans difference. Oh, I forgot one thing. Before you do that, you want to smooth out this mesh. So do mesh smooth. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 2 divisions just because I want it to really keep that shape. But then you can select the object, then select the cutout, then do mesh booleans difference. So it keeps that shape. All right, there we go. So next thing we want to do is go ahead and create a sphere. So grab a sphere, bring it on over here and scale it down. This sphere is kind of like in the center of the joystick to allow it to rotate it in multiple directions. So you want to try and position it to be in the middle as much as possible. So let's see, probably about there. And then, you know, just try and get it as good as possible. All right, let's do that. And then the next thing we can do is go ahead and duplicate one of those cylinders again, push it on down here, and then scale it down. This is what connects the joystick or the rotator to where your thumb actually presses. So try and just center that. And then you can grab a, maybe we use, I'm not sure if I should use a cylinder or a sphere for this part. Kind of seems like a sphere would suffice. Go ahead and grab a sphere. Oh, go ahead and duplicate this sphere. And then scale it down. Go into this view and select, you know, like these half of the faces. And then scale them in like that so that you get kind of like a rounded joystick type feel. All right, and then you can just, you know, press that object down on top of that guy, and then you can try and center it as much as possible. I'm going to scale mine up. It should be about a little bit smaller than the width of the circle that we originally cut out. And then you can scale this cylinder up to actually connect with that mesh. All right, but yeah, so that's the joystick. So really all you need to do is do the exact same thing on the other side. What I'm going to do first is do the cutout. So remember, we just duplicated one of these cylinders, moved it on up here to wherever the joystick is supposed to be. Probably about there is good. And then I just scaled mine up a little bit. And then, you know, you press it out of the mesh, probably like about there. And then remember, we smoothed this, so we did mesh smooth. I did 2 divisions, and then you can select that object and then the one that's being cut out and do mesh difference. And then since we already made the joystick over here, you can just select those 3 elements. You can duplicate them, and then, you can select those 3 elements and duplicate them and just bring them over here. So it's a bit easier. Don't have to make it all twice. But yeah, just try and center it to the best of your ability. All right. Yeah, so that's basically, you know, the front side. The only thing I can think of is adding some little details on these guys. You don't necessarily have to do that. That's just, you know, extra detail work. But that's it for the front side. So the next thing let's do is go ahead and do mesh smooth and then do 2 divisions on this guy. And then we're going to be creating some of those little like outlets that we have, you know, for like the charging and things like that. So go ahead and first we want to create a cube. Bring it on down here. It's going to be our charging point. So you want to try and really scale it. You can push it down into the mesh, like, I don't want to make it too tall. Let's make it like that tall, maybe. Alright, and then go ahead and press 3 so that it smooths out. And then select that guy, select the charging point, do mesh Boolean's difference. So we've got a little cutout for our charger. And then, actually, go ahead and, for this guy, go ahead and bevel this edge. Not that big of a bevel, but like maybe like that. And then press him into the mesh like that. And then you can select this guy and, oh, he's not peeking out enough, so bring him out just a smidge. Alright, select the main object, select the cutout, then do mesh Boolean's difference. Alright, there's our charging point. And then right next to the charger is actually like 2 little cylinder cutouts, so you can just grab a cylinder, scale it down, push it down here, and then I'm going to go ahead, let's see, it looks like it should be about like there. I'm going to scale mine down just a smidge more. And then you can duplicate that guy and push him over here, trying to make it as, you know, equal as possible. And then just do mesh Boolean's difference again with each of those guys. Alright, so now we've got 2 little circles on the bottom. On the top, there's a couple more things that we can add. So we've got our power button, which is basically just like a cylinder cutout with a smaller cylinder in the center. So go ahead and create a cylinder, scale it down, move it on over here, and then that should be probably about good. That's a good size too. Then you can select the original mesh and then the cylinder, mesh Boolean's difference, and then, oh, wait. Go ahead and duplicate this cylinder, then select the switch, select the cylinder, do mesh Boolean's difference again, and then select this cylinder and just press 3 so that now you've got a little power button in there. I'm going to actually also scale it down a smidge. There we go. And then right next to that is the little like power icon, which is basically just like a really long oval shape. So I think probably the best way to recreate this guy would be to make a cube, and then we can bevel those edges. Alright, there we go. I'm going to give them maybe like 4 divisions on each, like that. And then you can select the outside edge and just do Booleans. You can do 2 segments. Make the fraction pretty small. And then you can just press it on down here. Oh, also what you can do is you can extrude. You can take these like top faces right here, and then you can press them down a smidge into that mesh. Oh, you have to extrude them first. So you can extrude and then press them down. You can also like scale them down a bit, like that. That way you get a little bit more of the shape that we need. And then you can just press that into the mesh, like that. Alright, so that's our little like sound bar basically. Next thing is on the other side. It's got some little cutouts for like our little vent, and then it's got a cutout for our headphone jack. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and create those vents. So I can actually just create those by selecting faces and extruding them. So go ahead and just select like that. There should be 5 of them. So, you know, select as needed. There is supposed to be a headphone jack and a game card jack on that side, so I think I'm going to push one right here. Alright, then you can just extrude those and push their thickness down to, you know, however far down you want to go. I think I'm just going to go like, yeah, there. Okay, so next thing, you can take these guys and oh, okay, yeah. So take each of these guys and just scale those guys in. Alright, those are our little vents. And then inside those little vents are kind of like just really tiny, kind of just spheres. Kind of like little lines like that. So we can go ahead and create those and then scale them down. They look like that in the mesh. So you can just create one, duplicate it, move it over, and just keep going. They don't have to be like perfect. It's just where a little vent is. Alright, there we go. There's our little vent. Next, let's go ahead and make that headphone jack. So create a cylinder, scale it on down, bring it on over here. It's actually a bit smaller than that, maybe like about that size. It's also pretty close to that vent, probably about there. And then, whenever you think you've got a good height for it, you can go ahead and click on the switch Then click the cylinder, mesh, booleans, difference. Now we've got a headphone jack. And then the next thing is like a little game card insert. So that's basically just a cutout from a sphere. A cutout from a cube, I mean. Alright, so let's scale that guy. Alright, and then just make sure you've got that. And then duplicate it, select the switch, select the cube, you know the drill. And then you can just scale that guy down so that it fills this whole kind of. Alright, there we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and focus on the controllers again. So the controllers have two different types of buttons. So let's go ahead and go on this side. I want you to go ahead and grab probably like these faces and then press W and just press them out of the mesh like that. And then go ahead and extrude and thicken those guys like that. And then do the same thing with this side. Select these guys. Probably to about there. And extrude and thicken those guys. Probably to like about maybe like 0.02 or 0.03, not that big. But then you can go on the other side and do the exact same thing. So just select these faces. Extrude up that thickness. And then select the faces on the back. And extrude. Oh wait, first, before you extrude them, I just pressed W and brought them out a little bit, then extrude and up that thickness. Okay, so next on the back, you can select kind of like these faces right here. Extrude and offset those guys in. And then you can extrude and press their thickness like 0.01 up, just give it like a little bit of leeway. And then you can select this and then skip over that charger port. Leave a space and then go like that. Let's see, we can do 6. Yeah. Extrude, press that thickness down, and then select these guys. Extrude and press that thickness down. Alright, we're just putting in some little details. And then create a cylinder, rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis, scale it down, press it on over here. On these guys, they've got like little buttons on this side. There we go. and then you can duplicate it and just move it on over side to that guy. And then technically you can go through and add like a ton of screw holes. I don't think I'm gonna do that on mine because I don't really like how that looks, but it's up to you, you know, totally your choice. So that is basically the switch. We've got all the little details. I'll texture it in a different video, so stay tuned for that. But if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!